Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we're looking at the Skateboarding Must Die trading card game. This is Edition 1, Part 2, Socalia. These are as a skateboarding trading card game. I don't know how else to describe it. There were two boxes. This is obviously Part 2. It was put out by it's the Sir Manta Plays Stoked TCG System. Put out by Grindhouse, and supposed to have 14 tradable game cards, one rare card by Birdhouse, one stoked ladder, 2 cash, one rule sheet, one kicker, and one killer mini poster. Requires at least 30 cards to play, only 17 are in the box. So you need at least 2 of these boxes just to play the game. Keep that in mind because these are kind of hard to find, and most of the time you're only going to find 1 or 2 boxes. So you need 2 of this box and 2 of the other box set just to play the game. So let's see what's inside. This is for retail sale in the US and Canada only. Let me get the seal of approval here. Alright, now as I recall, this is somehow related to some famous skateboarders. This is from 2005, so I might be wrong about that. It's been a while since I've seen it. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, here's a bail token. It just says land, land, land on the back. And it says bail on the other side. Alright. Ooh, this is super cheap. This is garbage. Wow. That is really thin paper. Thrills are cheaper in Socalia. Yeah, wow, that's junk paper. That's even thinner than some of the other inserts we've seen. It's just a little advertisement on the back, this flavor text, and a silly poster of some sort of, I don't even know what that is. And then we've got our rule sheet, which is slightly better paper, but I don't know, this is pretty garbage paper too. Alright, it's got our layout for the turn, and on the other side is the rules. So it's a rule sheet on one side, pretty simple looking game. It continues on and then has a layout of what's going on there. But really, really low quality. Yeah, I'm not impressed with that. This poster thing is junk. You even try and hang that up, you'll probably rip it. Alright, these must be the dollar cards. It says Socalia on one side and 1 on the other. So nothing too spectacular about that. We've got a Kung Fu Wolf card with the number 6 on it. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it's relevant. Alright, then we've got our, like a cheat sheet kind of card. Yeah, turn sequence. Pretty straightforward. Then here's our other cards. You can see it's got the Socalia logo, just like the dollar ones did. So, see what we got here. We've got a kick flip to fakie. We've got a surveillance attached to target maneuver. Maneuver loses an extra 20 stoke when bailed. I sound like a total dork when I'm reading these. I don't know anything about skateboarding. Discard surveillance when the maneuver is bailed, or pay $2 to attach it to a different target maneuver. Then we've got a hot plant a different hot plant. Oh, yeah, it's part of a sequence. It looks like you probably have to complete the sequence for something, but there's little pictures along the side. I'm not sure. This looks kind of ridiculous. Heel flip to 180 out. Yeah, I'm a nerd. Food stamp recovery. Sacrifice a denied sequence from your claim. Attach food stamp recovery to your claim. Discard next turn to get +1 cash for each sequence card you sacrificed. Limit 3. Then we have an unpleasant inheritance, which is a filthy bathroom pitcher. We have an act of defiance intervention. Center and destroy a target crew that targets a crew in your claim. The rider that used the crew ability loses 20 stoke. Then we've got a hidden homemade, a Socalia center. Then we have a hot plant. So we've got 3 of that sequence. Oh, that's seems to be a duplicate. But yeah, otherwise we'd have 3 of them. We have a disobedience blunt. That's a red sequence. Then we have a waste of money. Play after target rider buys a gear. Attached to gear, the rider must pay $1 before they can use the gear. Discard when $1 is paid. Since you only get $2 in the box, that could probably get expensive. And lastly, we have a glutton gun. Attached to your claim, pay $2 to counter target crew ability. Use as many times as you like. So yeah, that's what's inside the Socalia box. The cards are okay. They're a little cheap. They're heavily coated, which makes them feel really cheap. I'm not super impressed. The art's okay. About what I'd expect. I don't know the purpose of this crew card that has the number 6 on it. I'm sure it's got a function. The rest of it looks pretty straightforward. It's got the costs on it, and for the gear and the card number, stuff like that. Dollar coin cards, yeah, they feel kind of cheap, especially because they're so glossy. This thing's a joke. I don't even know what the point of it is. I don't really care at this point. I thought the game looked fairly interesting when I was reading about it and looking it up, because I've had these for a long time, just never got around to opening them. Nobody ever wanted to play it. But looking at it, I can see why it never really caught on. The mini poster's a joke. The rule sheet is pretty craptastic too. Overall, if I paid $6 for this, I'd have felt ripped off. As a retailer, these were a bad investment. I think I sold 2 of them the entire time. But yeah, not real impressed with this. If you find it really cheap, or you're a fan of Birdhouse art, yeah, pick it up, but I won't pay more than a couple bucks a box. Anything beyond that, I know they're kind of rare, but they're probably not going to be worth the money. It doesn't look like a terribly fun game, honestly. It seems interesting, like something that might be interesting to play a few times and try out, but the fact that you need 2 of these boxes each, at least, just to form your deck, the low quality of everything, I'm really not impressed. So I don't think this is something that would really catch on ever again. I don't think this is going to be super highly collectible, except for the fact that it's rare and that it's got a very specific theme, which is skateboarding. I've never seen another skateboarding card game. We've seen soccer games with like match attacks. We've seen football games, baseball games. All those things had different forms. There was, you know, baseball card games. There was the miniatures game put out by HeroClix. But skateboarding, it's extremely niche. So I guess from a collectible standpoint, it's got its own little niche market and maybe has some kind of historical value. But I don't think it's gonna be a very particularly fun game. I'm not impressed. Needing so many of these decks, and with their rarity, they're gonna cost too much, and the cheapness of everything. I think it's lazily put together. It doesn't look like a particularly fun game. It looks over complicated, quite honestly. So I don't know. I would say this is probably a pass in my opinion. But do what you want, and something to consider. It might be worth looking at just for the historical aspect of it, but it doesn't do it for me. So that's my opinion on this. We'll see you next time on What's Inside. Thanks for watching.